You know that game of highway hazards on Lumosity, an online educational game. Let's replace it with racing hazards. Highway hazards is a racing car game, but there's really no need to have a motor vehicle in it because I like non motorized racing. Racing is about exercise and keeping in shape. Prizes are meant to be good health, not trophies or money. It's cheaper to burn calories than it is to burn fossil fuel and is bad for the environment. Using all of that fuel for our own entertainment, using auto repair shops to consistently fix vehicles that people abuse is also not good. People build racing cars with all of that safety protection that could just as easily be incorporated in all vehicles. Therefore, it's useless to have racing cars at all. It costs too much money for fuel, maintenance, and manufacturing when we can race to help us maintain our health like we're supposed to be. Traditional racetracks look like this, but they don't need any racing cars to be there at all. You can use almost any trail for a racetrack that doesn't look anything like this. These people are walking down a trail and enjoying the outdoors while they're walking towards their desired destination. These people are jogging down a trail and are enjoying their exercise like they're supposed to. These people are running down a trail and are happy running to where they're going. These people are riding their bikes down the trail and seem to be happy with working their legs going up and down. This person is riding a tricycle that's manufactured for adults, and she seems to be proud of the ride that she's going on and possibly reaching the finish line with the happy health that she's aiming for. This person is walking on a foot scooter and seems to be enjoying his ride down the street racing trail wherever he's going. This person is racing in a wheelchair so that he can prove to people that somebody in a wheelchair is just as good at winning a race as everybody else is. This is a person racing with dogs just like on the Iditarod. Do you see how much fun it is to race dogs to a certain destination without the use of a motor to do it? In fact, Lumosity should make the animated version of the Iditarod for all of us to play. This person is cross-country skiing and he is very happy to get to use his legs to go all the way across the trail. The finish line is where he's aiming to see how healthy he becomes through skiing. These people are sledding and going from the top of the hill to the bottom. The finish line is at the very bottom. You can do the same with sleigh riding too. These people are rollerblading and they're enjoying their ride down the bike trail without speeding. Skating very fast costs you your traction and you can fall right over. This is why you only win when you skate at a moderate speed. Here's a person on crutches. He might feel sorry for not being able to run in a race, but he really has nothing to feel sorry for because you can race on crutches even at a slow speed. If it's only until your leg is well healed from an injury, if you reach the finish line first, then you're nearly healed. It's something that's handy in the event of an injury that's pretty serious so that you can heal faster. If you require crutches because of some damage to your spinal cord, you can win just the same even if you can't go very fast. Here's some people pedaling a pedal boat. It's the kind of boat with pedals that helps you to exercise your legs while you steer the boat with your hands. It sure beats doing it in a motorboat race because that's just misusing the boat and defeating your need to keep in shape as well as putting you in danger of drowning. Here's some people swimming across a big pool or lake. They're having a lot more fun with exercising both their arms and legs than just speeding a boat across a body of water. If you refer back to the young girl who swam across the English Channel, you will see how much fame with many fans that she got doing that kind of sport. She wouldn't have been famous at all if she did it in a motorboat. In fact, it would be wonderful to have the Lumosity version of that kind of swimming too. This is the sign you'd usually see where the racetrack starts so that you know your home base easily. But this device that's used to start a race with motor vehicles is just as handy as using it in a race that has no motor vehicles. The Iditarod race that starts in Anchorage, Alaska, and now in Fairbanks, Alaska too, uses this kind of signal to get everybody started. It makes the same bang to be able to make them go when it turns green, and it's run by a generator. This is the speed limit sign that you'd see while you're on your race. Your speedometer will flash if you're going over the speed limit on the trail. It measures in kilometers, 100 meters for the roads with motor vehicles, but it measures in hectometers, aka 100 meters, for the trail in which you're racing on because of it being a slower speed than driving road. Measurement in hectometers, i.e., 100 meters, gives you big enough numbers to evaluate your progress. This sign evaluates the number of miles or kilometers in which you traveled on that road, but because racing out a motor vehicle is slower, this sign evaluates how many hectometers, aka 100 meters, you've gone while you were crossing. It's also used as a countdown to the end of a road or to when you're going to be crossing into the next state or country. This is one kind of warning sign that you'd see along the road, but in the game of racing hazards, the X that you see in this sign's top left corner is all that will ever come up while you're racing along your trail. Things like tumbleweeds crossing the desert pathway, beach balls crossing the path near the waterfront, children at play with their balls crossing the street, and moose crossing the dog sledding trails wherever you are. There's up to about 100 different types of crossing hazards, if you know what I mean. This is a picture of a damaged road, but it's only seen in animation on racing hazards. The T that you see on this sign's top side is all you'll see in advance of the road if there's some damage to it, so that you'll know to slow down as you cross over or bypass it. This is one sign you'll see if the road is making a change in direction, such as curve, turn, maneuver, switchback, switchover, or winding, whether going left or right. Federal law enforces the traffic management system to place an MPH or KM&H sign under that sign to warn you about the maximum speed you can make that redirection in without skidding. This sign, as you see on your trail with the speed underneath, measures in hectometers, aka 100 meters. These signs you'll see whenever the road is turning its direction, whether to the left or right. They're frequently followed by some small hexagonal arrow signs that mean keep turning, whether to the left or right. Canada and some other places in the world have these signs with some amber and black checkerboard decorations around it. This sign means speed zone ahead. They used to say reduce speed ahead or speed zone ahead on some white rectangular signs. The traffic management system was told that they need to change the sign to a black and amber diamond sign that means speed zone ahead, so that drivers can see clearly that their speed to slow down that area. This sign seems to be understood clearly to inform drivers that there's road work coming up soon and they'll either have to slow down through construction or take an alternate route. On the freeway or expressway in the state of Utah, they use, along with those construction signs, if all of the traffic must exit, some small rectangular orange hexagonal arrows with some cement blocks to direct off a freeway. Why traffic fines in a construction zone double is because injury to people costs a lot of money, and the money from those fines goes to their hospital bill. These signs are seen wherever the road is closed so that you'll know to take a detour on your racing path. Racing paths that need to be repaired need to close in order to get their repairs worth for your safety later on. These signs tell you which way to go to get to your destination, whether left or straight or right. You will see these as you race along your path so that you'll know the direction in which you'll need to go to get to your finishing destination. These signs tell you how far you'll have to go in order to reach your finishing destination and some other places along the way. They're measured in hectometers, i.e. 100 meters, because of the speed in which you race on without a motor vehicle, so that you can get a big enough number on your odometer showing all of the work you've done. Along the path in which you're racing on, you will see this sign so that you'll know that you can't turn left in that area. It works to stop you from going the wrong way on a freeway exit ramp, to keep you from interfering with a cross track on a busy street, to keep you from going the wrong way on a one-way street, or to keep you from causing trouble at an intersection. The no right turn sign works for most of that too. The no U-turn sign is used wherever the oncoming road is too narrow, or on the freeway where the median opening crosses between two fast lanes. The no turn sign is frequently used in some places in Alaska wherever there's an airplane strip crossing the road, so that you'll know that that path is for airplanes only. Now everybody knows this amber circle sign everywhere because it warns you that you'll soon be crossing some railroad tracks. Unlike other bumps in the road, this bump relates to crossing another mode of transportation that's bigger than you, and you'll need to be aware of it. Along the path in which you're racing, you will see this sign and will need to slow down so that you won't get into trouble with the train. If this sign is flashing, that means that the train is currently crossing your path and you need to slow down to be able to stop. If you go slow enough, the train will disappear and you can then race onward. There's another diamond sign you'll see along the path too, because of the number of different ones other than the road redirection sign, and the speed zone ahead sign is up to at least 100. This empty diamond will show up anywhere you go and then tell you what to do as you get closer. This upside down red and white triangular sign that you see on the road all of the time says and means yield because of some other traffic that must go by you. This sign comes up on your screen while you're racing on your path. That means that somebody is passing by you and you must slow down to let them go by. If you speed up with them like a road hog challenging their passing right away, your racing will end right where you did it, and you will be starting your race over with reset odometer. Roadhogging is at zero tolerance. This sign that tells you to stop is seen everywhere you go with its red octagon shape. It's clear enough for you to see so that you'll know when to stop. Preceding it is the amber diamond sign that says stop ahead on it with the symbol of the red octagon with the black arrow over it. It used to say stop ahead worded out, which wasn't very clear, but nowadays those signs preferred to that symbol instead. This sign is seen at where a road comes to an end at another road. It informs you that you've come to the end of the road and that you can either turn left or right. Sometimes these signs have 4 small hexagonal arrow signs with 2 pointing left and 2 pointing right below it to help to make the end of the road clear enough for you to see it. Mainly it's done with the roads that go a long way before coming to an end, just so that you'll be able to adapt to this end of the road faster because you see that sign from afar. For the racing games, there's arrows and words to tell you where your track is going, just like you see on some different highway signs. This sign tells you that you're at the end of a road where it's a dead end. The sign dead end is right there at the start of the road to tell you that that road doesn't go very far. Usually the end of the road consists of 3 red diamond signs, but in other parts of the world you see this. When you get to the end of your racing track, you will see this sign telling you that you made your grade. If you see this sign on some roads to the side of your racing track, that means that if you turn on those roads, you'll know that they're dead end roads. Here's the speedometer in the game of racing hazards. Unlike in a car where it measures the speed in miles or kilometers because the race consists of no motor vehicles, the speed is too slow for miles or even kilometers. The speed is measured in hectometers, aka 100 meters, instead of an arrow to tell you about your speed. The numbers notches light up on the gauge. It's very clear as you see it, and if the speed is over 80 hm/h, the speedometer at the bottom of your screen will flash, and that's when you'll need to slow down. Here's the odometer in the racing game of racing hazards. It also measures in hectometers, aka 100 meters. The numbers are also seen in digital just like the modern vehicles do. The numbers of hectometers, aka 100 meters, has 2 decimal place values so that you can see the actual number of meters in which you travel. When you pick your racing mode, you set the number of hectometers, 100 meters, in which you wish to race, and from where you're racing to and from. Your session only goes from 1 minute, and when your time is up, it'll ask you whether or not you want to save your place. Saving your place is the smart thing to do so that you can continue onward to your final destination on your next. Here's the RPM gauge that you find in your car to indicate the number of times the motor is going around. It's marked in single digits and says times 1000. It makes more sense to help alleviate hearing the sound of the motor, which is distracting your driving. But because racing hazards consist of no motor vehicles, the gauge measures your heart. After all, the motor of a vehicle works the same as your heart. Here is the fuel gauge in your car, but because you're not operating a motor vehicle, your fuel is the food in which you eat. The gas tank in a motor vehicle is just like your stomach, but because you're not operating a motor vehicle, that's why the gauge shows food on. Here's the oil gauge in your car, but because you're not operating a motor vehicle, your oil is the beverages that you drink. The oil pan in the motor vehicle is just like your esophagus, but because you're not operating a motor vehicle, that's why the gauge shows a drink on it. This game does not offer alcoholic beverages or soda for drinks because of your racing and how you'd end up injuring yourself or others doing so. It's the same way in a motor vehicle, except a certain kind of. Here's the temperature gauge in your car. It's just like a thermometer in which your body temperature is measured. An overheated engine is like running a fever, and a chilled engine is like running a chill in your body. But unlike a vehicular engine, your temperature is measured in your blood. Here's the alternator gauge in your car. It's just like how tired or energetic you are. A low charge is like fatigue, and a high charge is like being hyper. Hyperspeed in a race can be dangerous because you could end up going too fast and causing an accident somewhere along the track in which you're racing on. Here's the turn signals in your vehicle. These can only be found in a motor vehicle, and how you do the indication when you're racing is through the signal gestures. Outward left arm pointing, left turn signal. Outward right arm pointing, right turn signal. Outward both arms pointing, four-way flashers. Both arms downward with open hands, brake lights, and stop. Both arms downward with pointing backwards, backing up. Headlights are on motor vehicles only, and when you're racing at night, you must wear a lamp helmet. Here's the automatic transmission gear shift. Only in a motor vehicle do these exist, but in the game of racing hazards, it indicates that your brain is in the racing mode. After all, the gears in your car, whether automatic or manual, are like your brain's different modes. Automatic transmission is used in the game because of the needs for you to be able to pay attention while you're racing. Wherever you begin, you get your mind into drive mode and go as soon as the light turns green. And now, here's the keyboard controls for the game. Highway Hazards has only left and right arrow keys to be able to steer you around each hazard. That's nowhere near enough for any game that you play. Highway Hazards is only going in one speed, and that's very dangerous in the event of needing to slow down in a speed zone. You can't even go around any hazards safely like you need to also. On this keyboard, there are all of these keys that tell you what to do in the game. In addition to the left and right arrow keys, there's the up arrow key that accelerates your speed, just like when you step on the accelerator in your car. There's the down arrow key that decelerates the speed in your car, just like when you step on the brake. The 7 on the 10 keypad on the right hand side of the keyboard changes the gear selection from park to drive, just like when you do so in your car. And the 1 on there changes the gear selection from drive to park. If your laptop does not have the 10 keypad on the right side of the keyboard, the brackets facing to the right make the gears go from park to drive, and brackets facing to the left make the gears go from drive to park. The decimal key on the right hand side, or the options key, makes you jump the game if need be to be able to escape all hazards. These turn signals in your car work as follows. Z is left signal, just like pushing the switch down. C is the right signal, just like pushing the switch up. X is four-way flashes, just like the hazard or red triangle switch in your vehicle. V is the fog light switch. A is the headlight switch on. S is the headlight switch off, just like the switch in which you turn in your car. What you see on the keyboard is how it all works. Now, do you see how much more effective the game of Racing Hazard is with all of those keys that you see on the keyboard? It works a lot better than Highway Hazards only with the left and right arrow keys. In fact, Safeway and Albertsons have all agreed to give up Monopoly to support this game to get fixed. They told us that they were willing to give up on Monopoly because they heard about their friends and relatives of disability in need of having some games that they like to play on Lumosity fixed. You might get a discount at the store playing Monopoly, but you'll get an even bigger discount if you help to support this repair of highway hazards to racing hazards. You have to put the needs of your friends and relatives of disability first, especially if their favorite games aren't working like they should be. Otherwise, you're just being greedy and asking to lose your business, in which is what will happen to Safeway and Albertsons if they refuse to give up on Monopoly for their friends and relatives of disability.